So, welcome to Shubham Mittal Show. Today, we have another prestigious person on this interview. He will going to share his golden nuggets with you, which will help you in your life to move faster. Now, he is the pioneer in starting the virtual CFO service provider company called MyShare CFO. Silicon India has considered them top 10 most promising virtual CFO service provider. He has vast experience in the CF domain and he has done so many things in his life. He specializes in business startup, including equity and tax structuring. He is none other than CA Piyush Garg. So, how are you, Piyush?
I'm good, Shubham. Thank you. Thank you for the nice words.
My pleasure. So, Piyush, before we start, just a personal question.
Yeah,
We only met for 30 minutes in Mumbai that day,
right.
and you agreed to do this interview. What was the reason behind this?
I think the reason we discussed that day also we connected so well was
Yes.
that I felt that you are doing something which is close to my heart. And when I saw someone doing it, although not known to me, but I instantly connected after having started the conversation with you. So I feel very happy that this dream of helping others, other CA co-professionals, someone as young as you, Shubham, is being started. That's a commendable thing. So that's the reason we connected so well, and I really feel happy for what you're doing.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Piyush. So, my first question to you is what is your point of view on younger generation chartered accountants? Because I see a lot of chartered accountants, they are not happy with their job, they are not loving what they do, and they are always saying that, did I do right thing while I was doing CA or should I have done other courses? So, what is your point of view on that?
Yeah. So young chartered accountants are undergoing significant change in terms of the overall environment, which itself is changing. So you have a lot of social media influence, which is encouraging you to pick up a lifestyle which is influenced by others, which is actually putting a lot of pressure on the young generation in terms of earning more and more money. So unfortunately, because of that, what is happening, I feel, is that they are getting into this trap of setting the monetary goals before setting the professional goals. So ideally, they should somehow reorient themselves and see if they can set the professional goals first, because money anyway will follow. So the reason of non-fulfillment possibly could be that they are looking only at the salary slips or the money in the bank account, whereas what can lead to fulfillment, I think most of us, if think a little bit in detail, would know that it is the ability to make a difference somewhere, whether in personal life to someone's life or in professionally to the organizations. Only then one can feel happy.
Absolutely. Very, very true, Piyush. So, is that the reason you believe is the number one challenge why CAs are not able to fulfill their dreams? Or is there some other primary reason for not able to fulfill those dreams which they had while they were pursuing chartered accountancy?
I feel, Shubham, probably they don't even have a dream in first place.
Hmm.
So if they start dreaming, if they start making objective in life in terms of what they should be doing and what they should be striving to achieve, I think a lot of their problems in terms of this, non-fulfillment, as you say,
Yes.
will get resolved. So I think the basic challenge is to bring about a clarity as to what they want to do, dream about it, and then work towards achieving it. So unless you make a dream, what will you achieve? And that's the challenge.
True. So a chartered accountant should have a dream as to what should they do in long term in their life. Is that correct?
Absolutely. Actually, that is true for all.
Yes, actually, not for chartered accountant, it's for every human being.
Every human being. Yeah.
That's true. So thank you for sharing that. Now, my next question is related to your firm which you founded, My Shared CFO. Now, what was your mission and what was your need to create this company? Because as a normal chartered accountant, we hear that a traditional practice is good, but what was the need of this company?
Okay, so I'll share my professional journey a little bit. And
Sure.
I'll go back about 19 years
Yeah.
when I qualified my CA exam. So there was a bit of a dilemma at that time, which I was undergoing. So I was the tax practice or the becoming a tax professional was one of the dream careers for a chartered accountant at that point. So I was also chasing one of that. In the process, what was happening was that I was being interviewed by various companies, including Big Four, but did not get it in their tax departments. I could not do it. The jobs which were being offered to me, I did not like, such as BPO jobs and all. So finally, I ended up taking a job in ACC Cement as a assistant manager, costing and MIS and so on. So that's where the discovery started to happen. So I started discovering that there are other exciting areas in CA profession which one could pursue. And as a matter of fact, I also realized that I have an inclination towards those areas. So that's where the discovery started. Then I took up next job, which was in consulting, another consulting management consulting organization, where I did a lot of work in terms of developing costing system, doing the MIS for a large organization, which were not considered the comfort zones for chartered accountant at that point of time. So by destiny, you can say that I stepped out of my comfort zone, and that shaped the idea of virtual CFO service. So when I started on my own, a few years later, I decided that whatever we do, it has to be in terms of helping the organizations run their operations professionally. So how, as a professional, we can help, and this was a good option to help them uh, manage their financial operations, finance, by offering this kind of a virtual CFO service. So eventually it happened. So it was not on day one, but eventually we realized that this is what we are doing, and then packaged it in this manner.
That's amazing to know your story because a person who was doing a regular work which every CA does and triggering a point, okay, I need to do something different and founding such a great company which is recognized by Silicon India. So that's a great achievement, Piyush.
Thank you. Thank you, sure.
Now, my next question is, I've seen many CAs in practice. They say there is no money in practice. I should probably go for job again. So what is your point of view on that?
See, I think the perspective has to be brought into this, because money is a very relative thing. If you compare practice with job, so when I started, it was not very bad. But over the years, the corporate salaries actually have increased tremendously. So if you compare the monetary reward in practice today versus the salaries which are being offered either to fresh CAs or to those who are experienced,
Mhm.
is relatively high. So that is the reason we say that there's no money in practice, or it is below expectation, in terms of the work we do. But I feel the reward is much more than monetary reward in practice, because the kind of work you do, the kind of professional satisfaction you get, so all of that is really much more than what you can actually get in a job.
True.
So it's not the money alone which you should look at. You should look at the other benefits of the being in professional practice.
True. So money should not only be the goal. Obviously, money is the goal,
Is
but
the
that
but not
should
the
not
only.
be the only goal.
Absolutely,
Yes,
absolutely.
that's great. So my next question is, generally we have heard from the clients or CAs that clients do not pay us because they feel we are cost to them. We are not value addition to them. Do you really agree that chartered accountants are cost for the clients?
Yes, of course, there are costs. So actually, I look at it differently. So I think the value has to be understood by the professional himself first.
Yes.
Then only he can ask the value from the client. So you should value your contribution or assess your contribution to a business first, value it, and then go to a client asking for the value of that contribution. All I can say is in past 14 years of my experience, professional experience, I have never come across a scenario where the value by a client is measured lesser than what I expected my value to be. And one should be smart enough also to say that, not pick up the assignments where the value is not being delivered. So there are, buyers of different things in market, but you should offer your services only to those who can value it. So if I give an example of Mercedes or BMW or any luxury car and compare the features which are there as compared to, let us say, a Honda City, see the costing of the features, additional features, would actually not justify the price increase. But it is the value which is the exclusivity, the prestige, and so many things, which they realize, the companies realize that the buyer will be able to afford that much and pay that value. So it is not the price, it is the value which is being paid. Same goes in accounting profession also. So if you go to the client saying that we do accounting, probably you're not valued much. But if you say, and that's what we do as well, that there is a significant value of accounting intelligence which we can generate.
Hmm.
There is a risk management angle which we bring in. So if we, put it across in that manner and understand your value first in your eyes, then I think the client will have no choice but to value.
Absolutely. We have to value first ourselves, and then
Absolutely.
we can expect others to value us.
Right.
True. So, what is that one thing which CA should consider while going in front of the client and proposing their services so that they get more price and in turn, eventually, they will provide better services to them?
So I don't think there is any one thing as such. But first thing is that one should be clear about his own positioning. The CA himself should be knowing what he is out to do for a client.
Hmm.
So if he's doing only accounting activities, which is run of a mill, any other, maybe not even chartered accountants, even the accountants are doing the same,
True.
then the value will have to be at par. So it is the activity which will get paid. Whereas if you go out and say that we will help you in governance, we will help you automate your processes and make it easier, we will make an impact on the bottom line.
Hmm.
So if you are willing to, step out of your comfort zone, do some hard work for the client and deliver value, I think that the client should be willing to pay you the value. So
Hmm.
clear your positioning first, what you want to do, and then go out searching for clients.
That's so profound. That's so profound. Now, related to this only, if a chartered accountant starts the new practice, they believe that if they charge more, client will not come to them. They will either go to Big Fours or some other firms who are charging less or they have more experience. Do you really think a chartered accountant who is starting their journey cannot charge more, even if they're providing value to client?
So as I said, that there is no definition of more or less.
Hmm.
If you take any example of as simple as filing of an income tax return, there are websites which are offering 500 rupees or 200 rupees for, the services are offered for that.
Hmm.
And there are chartered accountants who are charging 50,000 rupees for that as well.
True.
I know some of them. Yeah. So the question is that how do you want to position yourself? So you can, not everyone will pay 50,000, of course, for the, kind of services that you bring in. But if there is a person who has you can add value that much to the income tax return filing process to that person. It is not simply taking the data and doing the calculation and presenting it. It also helps in terms of helping them make a financial plan within that exercise itself. Very simple rule could be that if, let's say, someone is paying uh, interest on savings bank account where the exemption limit is 10,000 rupees, per annum. You can simply make a thumb rule in terms of advising the client that you are actually putting a lot of money, leaving a lot of money in savings bank account, which can be deployed better.
Mm.
So if you add value, if you let us say save 5 lakh rupees for a person in the process of filing the return, why will he not pay you 50,000?
True. We should at least consider that what value we are providing. We have to
Absolutely.
be clear on what value our client is getting, and then accordingly we can charge to our
Absolutely.
clients for our services. That's true. Do you also think that technology can change the way CA practice?
It is
Or
actually changing. It is. It is changing the every dimension of CA practice, as a matter of fact. And I will also say that we don't have a choice. Either CA practitioners or even the clients, they don't have a choice but to adapt to technology. The reason being that the cost of doing business has to be brought down,
mm,
and the speed at which the business has to be done has to be brought down. At the same time, it increases the control. So if the processes are manual versus the processes if they are automated, the control increases significantly.
yes,
So the technology is playing a significant role everywhere. And actually speaking, the profession is going through that big change only because of the IT revolution. And the role of chartered accountant, I feel, is significantly changing from only those tax experts to someone who is advising you on business.
true. So businesses needs not only tax advisor, they need a business advisor who can help them to increase their bottom line, as you mentioned previously.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And okay, so if a person is in dilemma, what should they do? Either they should go to job or practice, because they think only in terms of money. Where is more money, in job or practice? So is that the criteria to come into practice, or they should have a bigger purpose to come into practice and serve their clients?
So I think there are whys attached to both. So if someone wants to go for something, I don't know how to really think only because of money. It's very difficult for, at least for me. I don't know. I haven't thought of it that way. So one should first think that why should I get into practice? Because if you look at a CA professional, like let's say a person qualifies a CA exam at an average age of 25 years, you at least have 35 years of working life. So the decision as to one should be in practice or in job cannot be taken so casually. And it is not that once a decision is taken, it cannot be reversed or changed later. There are so many professions I know who have shifted from one side to another over the journey of their profession. But what is important is that the decision should not only be driven by money, the salary slip, but also what do you get in return. So it is possible. See, like I never picked up a BPO job at that point of time, right or wrong, I really don't know. But the fact is that I thought that this job is not going to make me fulfill my professional expectations.
That's true.
The satisfaction in terms of what I derive from being a chartered accountant may not be fulfilled. So I took the call of not going there. There are so many others who went there and did well also. So it is a question of what is right for you. You define,
Mm,
take a call, informed call on that, not driven by compulsions that there is a higher salary. Let me take the call because there is a lifestyle to manage, or someone in the neighborhood drives a bigger car than mine. So let me take that job so that I can also afford the car. So that's not the right way, and that's what typically leads to dissatisfaction.
that's so profound. So what I get from this is we should ask ourselves a question: is this fulfilling me? Is this work giving me fulfillment? If yes, you can go ahead. Otherwise, you need a change which will obviously give you the life you want
Absolutely.
to. Now, I know few people who are working with you for so many years. Nowadays, people leave their job in 1 or 2 years because they are looking for another job. So what are the common tips which you want to give to other practicing CAs so that they can also retain their hard working and honest employees?
Pay them a lot of salary. Obviously, that's a joke. So, so what you have to think through as an employer, because I have been sitting on both the sides, employee as well as employer. So, what you need to see is that what a employed person would look at in terms of an employment. What gives him satisfaction? So, if those needs are taken care of by and large, it is very likely that the person will stay. So, if I say that a person's professional growth is ensured, if a person is driven by uh, extra work, different kinds of work, you try and give it to them. Also ensure that they are professionally growing in terms of acquiring the skills, like technology skills. So motivate. Also, you also learn skills and teach them. So if you take a 360-degree of view of what they really need to stay, it is likely that they will stay.
So, as an employer, we should take care of their personal needs as well, so that they do not look out to fulfill their personal and professional needs, and that is the only reason people shift. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. And adding to that, I also feel that you should let the people go out whenever you feel that they have outgrown you, because every organization will have its own set of limitations, whether
Right.
in terms of paying capacity or in terms of absorbing that kind of professional expertise. So if you think the person has outgrown that, it is better to encourage the person to go out and do well in life.
That's an interesting point. That's an
What?
interesting point.
Yeah.
So,
So
can you please
I
elaborate this point a little bit? The last point.
So what I'm saying is that you tend to have good people for an organization to stay and run, right?
Right.
But at the same time, every organization will have its limitations, and those who have the potential, you should allow them to grow, and as a matter of fact, encourage them to go out if they outgrow your organization, because it will help them develop their own career and actually be fulfilled. See, getting
Wow.
an employee, will be a challenge for you. Obviously, good employees, but a person who is not fulfilling his desires, his expectations, professionally, personally, will not be a satisfied employee. And it's better not to have a satisfied employee. I mean, dissatisfied employees in the organization. Let them go. Do good for themselves. They will be a brand ambassadors, if nothing else.
True, because you help them to outshine their personality and help them to realize their actual potential.
Absolutely. You could
That's so
actually
true.
think of even aligning with them if it is in terms of professional leads also you can align with them if they have outgrown you.
Wow. Now I know why people stay with you and they are continuously working with you. That's amazing. So,
Right.
Piyush, we know a chartered accountant, whether they are in job or they are in practice, they need certain set of skills. They need certain qualities. But what is that one quality which you feel every chartered accountant should have in order to fulfill their dreams and live a great life?
I think clarity. It requires a lot of clarity. So all you need is try and develop as much clarity as possible.
Okay.
Having passed the CA exam, you have already proved your credentials as a professional.
Mm,
So that's the journey has begun already.
true.
But actually, the professional journey begins only when you actually become a chartered accountant and start, meeting with your own expectations first of all. So set your expectations with respect to your capabilities, grow them at the same time, start dreaming. So that's the one mistake which you should not be making, that you don't dream. Dream, don't daydream, do the dreaming. And then work to achieve it. So I think that's something which is true for any professional, including chartered accountant, that you should start, setting goals for yourself and work towards achieving them. And goals ideally should not be financial alone.
Uh,
The need for money exists, but that cannot be the sole need.
That's amazing. So what I can summarize from this, that have a goal, have a dream, and do not just daydream. Work on it so that it can actually become reality for you.
True.
Okay. What is that one advice which you want to give to every chartered accountant and aspiring chartered accountant who are watching this interview right now?
So what I'll say is that the CA profession as such is changing, and is changing quite significantly. While it is important for the professional bodies like ICI and even international bodies to adapt to this change quickly, and also profess it to all those actively, directly, indirectly, so that everyone imbibes it well. But for individuals also, it is important that they look out and understand the change in the environment, and understand how the profession is changing from purely being looked at as a tax expert or a compliance person to someone who actually can take care of the business needs. So one should start looking, those who have qualified should start looking at themselves as a business advisor, and start making a difference to the bottom line of the company. So which is like, shifting yourself from being a cost center, which you mentioned earlier that chartered accountants are a cost. So from cost center, they should start visualizing themselves as a profit center. Then how much difference do they really make to the bottom line? So I think from that point of view, we keep hearing that, there are a lot of changes which are happening, which will, whether the CA profession itself will survive or not, or there'll be survival challenges. I feel the perspective can be shifted a little, and we, from being cost center, the defensive approach, to profit center, the aggressive approach, shift ourselves completely, and that only will help us over a period of time.
Wow, that's a great advice. So we need to be aware what we are doing. We need to know our potential and how we can add more value to our clients. And we
Absolutely.
should not be ignorant about the situation, about the changes which are happening out in outside world.
Yes.
We need to change ourselves and our methods, our technology, everything to match that reality.
True, because there are studies which say that about 70% of the accounting jobs will vanish in the coming decade. That's a real significant fact, which one should understand and make changes accordingly to the way one is conducting himself professionally.
Mm. So if a chartered accountant who is just into entry, doing entry kind of stuff job, they
Hmm.
will going to lose their jobs, and they will figure out, and they will wonder, what did I do wrong?
Absolutely. So they
Right.
have to rediscover, including the profession of chartered accountancy by itself. We all have to rediscover ourselves.
Mm. That's a key of a great life.
I hope so,
That's
and
great.
then I think this is how one should look at the profession now.
I completely agree, Piyush, because you shared so many golden nuggets which will definitely help our chartered accountants and as well as aspiring chartered accountants to shape their career so that they can have more fulfilled life rather than cribbing about their existing job which is not giving them money and fulfillment. So thank you so much, Piyush, for being there on the show and sharing your golden nuggets with all of us.
One last thing which I advise all my colleagues, the young chartered accountants, that they should bring two things in life, which is their weight and their ego once they qualify. And in summary, if you look at this, summarizes the entire life management. If they are
That's
able to manage
amazing.
their ego and weight, that's the most difficult part of life.
Wow. So that I can call a success mantra for every chartered accountant. If you keep in check two things, you will be ahead in life. One is your ego. Second is your weight. Wow. Thank you for sharing that, Piyush.
Thank you, Shubham. Thank you. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much for being on this show. And I hope it will inspire and it will help other people to come out of their mediocre thought process and achieve their dreams and give a better life to their family.
Thank you. I wish you, as well as all the young and inspiring chartered accountants, all the very best. I
Thank you
hope
so much.
this advice makes some difference.
Absolutely, it will make.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.